Good afternoon. Let me just refresh my screen, make sure that I am indeed live. Looks like I am. Good afternoon, everyone. Carol Buckalew with Inky Stampers. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Hope everybody's doing well on this Wednesday afternoon. We had a little bit of snow early this morning, just a light dusting. And it's the second maybe light dusting we've had this winter, so I know lots of folks across the country are really hurting with the weather right now, especially Texas. They had a bunch of ice, and I think they're going to be getting some more, unfortunately. So keep those folks in your prayers. So today I am going to be making a gatefold card with a belly band, and this will be my card tomorrow for the Happy Inkin Thursday blog hop. And for some reason hey Rosie, thanks so much for joining. Oh wow, Rosie, you got up to 26 degrees in your neck of the woods. Wow. Well, that's saying something since your temperatures have been, 0 and below. So glad to hear it. But anyway, this is a gatefold card with a belly band, and I created this card for the Happy Inkin Thursday blog hop, which is tomorrow. So if you want to stop by my blog and join in and hop around to all the other sites, I will have links available in my blog post tomorrow that will allow you to do that. So let me just pop this open so you can see the inside. So this is the inside of our card that we're going to be making today. All right, well, let's get started here. Just to share with you the products real quick. I use the Petal Park stamp set for my flowers and leaf images. I use the Around the Bend stamp set for the sentiments. The Something Fancy dies, and in particular I use the smallest, I'll call this a rectangular die, and then the medium-sized rectangular die. Hey Mary, thanks so much for joining. And these have become like my new favorite label go-to dies. I just love these dies. They're awesome. And then I use some of the Regency Park 6x6 Designer Series paper. So we can go ahead and get started. And before I get too far into the card, I just wanted to mention, as you can see, my belly band has some flowers on the front of it. These flowers were punched from the Regency Park paper, and in particular, this pattern and this pattern. I stamped a couple of extra blue flowers from this one, and well, I got one out of this. But if you turn the stamp, right, so you can see there's the small flower, there's the small one, the medium and large, medium and large. Now, that did not line up when I punched from this paper, but the flowers did line up, and that's what I used for my card today. Just wanted to share that with you quickly. Put this out of the way so it's not in my way. There we go. And let me see here. I think perhaps we will start with some, with a little bit of stamping, and then we can go ahead and work on gluing up. This is my inside panel, and all of the measurements for this card will be on my blog tomorrow, so you'll be able to catch all the instructions, measurements, everything you need will be out there tomorrow. So I'm going to start here. This is my sentiment label, and this was cut with the Something Fancy small rectangle die. It's kind of like a rectangle. It's got little fancy corners. And I am going to stamp in Night of Navy, and my sentiment label is Petal Pink. So, Stampin' Up makes it really easy to coordinate colors. If you're using Designer Series paper and you look at the back of the pack, you'll see all the coordinating colors, and I've yet to find anything that doesn't go well together, so they're doing something right. And I'm going to just go ahead and stamp this sentiment. And you know what I just did? I just stamped the inside greeting on my sentiment label. So I'm going to kind of take my bone folder here and kind of smooth out the little creases from the die on the back side, and I'm going to flip this over and use the other side, and this time stamp the correct sentiment. So we want our outside sentiment to say hello there, and we'll try this again. And these stamps are photopolymer, so they are obviously easy to line up. So there we go. So now I just need to remember when I glue that label to the mat that I get the right side glued up to the mat. Now we can stamp our inside sentiment on our card here. Just line that up on my grid paper. Hi Faith, thanks so much for joining. Yeah, I saved that one, Mary. Sometimes I get lucky, not always, but sometimes. And then I want to just take a look at the inside of my sample card here. To determine which way to stamp this, so I need to stamp it, I believe, this way. I need to kind of stamp it down this way. So this is the large detailed leaf stamp from the Petal Park stamp set, and there is a detailed flower stamp that I'm going to use as well. And I'm trying to get the positioning so that I get it right, hopefully the first time, but I think that is the direction I want it. I am also stamping this in Night of Navy ink. Barbara, hi, thanks so much for joining. All right, and I'm not looking to get this entire stamp onto my inside panel. We want to leave some room for writing a message. There we go. And so this is the Petal Park kind of detailed flower stamp. And this large flower kind of nestles in, kind of right in here. So if you can get that kind of lined up and snugged up against those leaves, that is, let me see here, I may need to turn it a bit. I think that's how it goes. So we'll give this a try. And you know, this is not a super fancy, this is not a super fussy, is what I meant to say. This is not a super fussy two-step stamp. Some of them are, but this is not one of those. And let me see here, I think I need to have it turned this way. And if we get it close, that will be good. And let's go for that. We'll see how it turns out. Okay, not too bad. I'm going to take it. I'll take the win. Oh, thank you, Rosie. Appreciate it. Yeah, I have a bit of a ways to go, but I'm trying to build my subscribers on YouTube so that once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be able to do YouTube lives in addition to my Facebook live. So that's the goal anyway, but Rosie, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I am going, now there are fill stamps, I should mention, in the Petal Park stamp set that will allow you to stamp in the color for the leaves and the flowers. However, for today's card, I am going to go ahead and just use Stampin' Blends. And for this large flower, that large flower is going to be in Mango Melody. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mary, but I don't believe Mango Melody comes in Stampin' Blend. So I'm going to show you how to color that large flower in Mango Melody. But for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead. All the leaves are going to be in balmy blue, and this small flower is going to be in balmy blue, except for its center. And we'll make quick work of this. I also stamped these images onto the envelope, but you'll be happy to know that I correct. Thank you, Mary, for confirming that. Yeah, I didn't think, because Mango Melody is one of my favorite colors, and I would have those markers if they were available. Just saying. And I'm guessing here at where those little leaves are, I think we're okay there. And we'll get this one here. But anyway, I did stamp these same images onto my envelope front, but I did that earlier just because you guys don't need to see me coloring the same image over and over again. That and the fact that I seem to have difficulty keeping my videos to 30 minutes. Lately I have been running over, and I think I just gab too much, to be honest with you. But I enjoy gabbing with all of you, so it's all good. All right, and I'm going to grab the dark shade of Petal Pink, and this flower, except for its center, is going to be Petal Pink. And these little, they're kind of leaves. I'm not sure what they are. But the good thing about making your own cards is you can color in whatever colors you want. And I decided these were going to be Petal Pink. Our flowers are a bit fanciful. All right, there we go. And then, let me see here. Oh, I missed a leaf. Go back to Balmy Blue. And I am not worrying at all with any shading on this whatsoever. It is a, kind of a suggestive image. It's not really, not realistic, I guess you would say. I'm going to make the center of this Petal Pink flower Sweet Sorbet. And then I am going to grab my Mango Melody ink. I know. I wish we had Stampin' blends in every color. I was just thinking that this morning, Mary, because I would certainly own every color. So this is a blender pen. And when I don't have a Stampin' blend color that I want, I use a blender pen, and I just tap the tip of the blender pen right on the very edge of my ink pad. I haven't found this to be a problem thus far, but I just, and then I pick up more color as needed. But I very much wanted this flower, and since I'm coloring everything differently, I very much wanted this flower to be Mango Melody. And I'm putting the stronger color towards the center of the flower, so as I pull that color out, it kind of fades off a bit. So that kind of provides its own shading without even trying. You just have to be careful when you use these blender pens that you don't scrub your cardstock too much, because it will get oversaturated, and it will bleed. It will saturate the cardstock and make it start pilling. So you definitely want to be careful about that when you're using a blender pen to color with ink. And then I'm just wiping my pen off here on the side to make sure I get all of that color out. So the next time I go to use it, I'm not surprised. Now let me see here. Oh, I forgot to color in the center of this flower. And let's do that. And again, this is Sweet Sorbet. Thanks very much, Faith. Yeah, I like the color combo too. On my original card, the center of this blue flower was Mango Melody, but I'm going to make it red just for time's sake. I don't think it really matters. So that is the inside of our card. And I'm going to go ahead and get this glued up and put into the inside of our card base since it's all ready to go. Oh, that was almost right into my jacket. That would have been a sticky, sticky mess. I wonder if this kind of glue washes out of fabric. I think it does. Whoops. And this is exactly why I like to use liquid glue. If you saw that panel just slip, I was able to recover and get it straightened out. So, yeah. That's exactly why I like to use liquid glue. I'm going to go ahead and just give each side of my card base a nice burnish there. And this card base is 11 inches wide by 4 1/4 inches tall. And so the card base, I want to say it's scored at 2 3/4 and 8 1/4, I believe. And again, the measurements will be on my blog tomorrow. But I chose 2 pieces of paper from the Regency Park Designer Series paper pack. And I chose a stripe pattern and a polka dot pattern. And as you can see, I've got those on my card front. So I thought about this, and originally when I made the first card, I actually cut these pieces of paper in half, right, and treated them as 2 separate units. But you really want this polka dot panel to be even on both sides of your card. So it makes more sense to just paste these together, glue these together, and then cut them in half. And it would get cut at 2 3/4. So this one panel is the exact size of the finished card, which is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And then this is 5 1/2 by 2 3/4, I want to say. But anyway, well, let's go ahead and I'm just going to give myself, I want this polka dot panel to come in, whoops, I don't have a pencil around. I want this polka dot panel to come in down about 3/4 of an inch. And I'm just going to kind of make a little indent there. Hopefully I can see it when I apply my glue here. Yeah, I can't see it. That's all right. We'll eyeball it. It'll be good. Let me see if I can, okay, there's my little mark. And what's great about striped paper is it lets you get stuff really lined up very well. It works great. I could have gone with florals, but I didn't want the flowers on the belly band to kind of get lost, right, with too many flowers. So that's why I went with kind of the, the B-side. I call them the B-side papers. Let me just grab my paper trimmer here real quick. And I am going to cut this DSP down the middle at 2 3/4. And hopefully it's correct. If it's not, I'll be digging out some more DSP. All right. And so now these panels are going to go on either side of our card front. And when adhering these, I highly recommend, if it's not exact, and I'm pretty close here, but you really want your DSP to butt up against this center opening of the gatefold. Otherwise, your card may not close very well. And you can always take scissors and trim any off if needed. Also, you want to be aware of the pattern because we want, you know, in case if this got turned around, the patterns wouldn't match across the top of the card. So you want to just be aware that if you have an up and down or a pattern that you want to maintain, make sure you're doing that before you glue these on. So I'm going to go ahead and get this first panel down. And again, I am looking to make sure this is flush and not hanging beyond that flap there. And I think we're good. And if you look on the back, actually it's not bad. It might be a little bit over there, but it really isn't enough to be bothersome. And then we can go ahead and get this second panel on. And again, be mindful of the direction of your pattern. Just make sure it's straight there. Give it a good press. It is, let me see here. It's meeting up here in the center. I think we did okay. I think I did okay anyway. All right, let me see here. So we've got our inside done. We have our DSP on the card front, and we can go ahead and work on the belly band. So what I have here is another piece of Night of Navy cardstock, and this measures 11 inches wide by 1 1/4 inches tall. And I went ahead and I scored one end of this belly band at 2 3/4, and I'm just going to kind of fold that over, and we'll lay our belly band down. And just bear with me here a second. I think I need a sharper cutting blade. You know, sometimes it when you cut with a dull blade, sometimes it leaves a little ridge on the cardstock. I hate that. I can still see it a little bit. Back of the fingernail works too sometimes. All right, that looks better. You probably couldn't even see what I was saying, but it bothered me. So when you are creating a belly band, now obviously, right, our card is 11 inches wide when it's fully open. The cardstock is max 11 inches wide if you're using 8.5 by 11 cardstock. If you've got 12 by 12 cardstock, that's great. You don't have to worry about this next part. But because I was using cardstock and not DSP, right, my band is as wide as the card. So when I fold that end over, I've got a bit of a gap, and that's okay. And I just want to make sure, kind of, and eyeball it, but I just want to make sure that belly band can freely move up and down. And what I did was I cut myself a piece of 1 inch wide cardstock, and it is not as high. I think it's, well, let's see here. It's 1 inch by about 1 3/4 inches, and I'm just going to use this little piece of cardstock as a bridge. Now, as we are working on our belly band and decorating, right, you can see that my sentiment label is set off a bit to the right. It's not centered on the belly band, and so when I adhere this little bridge piece, I want to make sure that I get it off a little bit to the right. Our sentiment label is going to completely cover that, so we will be good. So let me go ahead and get a little bit of glue here. Now, the other option for this is, instead of just cutting a little, you know, I'm calling this a bridge piece, instead of that, the other option is to just, you know, put Stampin' dimensionals on the back of your sentiment label where it will not, you know, be touching the front of your card. and use that kind of to hold your belly band together. Either one would work. And I'll just make sure that is good, and I think we're sliding good. So that's very good. All right, and let me get my sentiment label onto its mat. And the mat, and do we have the right side? Yes. The mat is in Balmy Blue. The sentiment label is Petal Pink. I'm going to go ahead and get this glued up. And then we can decorate our belly band, but this card actually came together rather quickly. All right. That looks good. Now, when I go ahead and put dimensionals on the back of my sentiment label, I want to keep them towards the center because this sentiment label is wider than the height of our belly band. So just be mindful of that. So I'm just going to kind of keep them somewhat in the middle. That wasn't in the middle at all. Okay, there we go. Get those pesky little dimensional covers off. And again, we want our sentiment label. I'm just making sure my belly band's not cockeyed. We want our sentiment label to sit to the right. And I'm trying to center that top to bottom as well. These little curved corners are actually pretty good guidelines. And that looks good. All right. And then I have pre-punched from the paper I showed you earlier my flowers. And just get these kind of dry fit onto here the way I want them. I think I want one down there. I'm going to save that little leaf for last. And then the big one I'm going to pop up with a dimensional. So just a note, you know, these flowers can overhang the belly band top and bottom. You just don't want them hanging off, you know, the left side here. That will interfere with your envelope. But I think that actually, that's kind of how I want those. And so let's go ahead and get these glued up. And I'm just going to put a little dot in the center of each flower. I'll tell you what, I love my tweezers for this kind of work. If you don't have reverse tweezers for your crafting, I highly recommend you get some. They are lifesavers. And then that one is going to go right about in there. And I am going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this flower. And pop that up. And I want to try to keep all of my flower centers visible if I can, as much as possible. And I'll show you why in a minute. That looks pretty good. And then for my leaf, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the end of the leaf here, and kind of got myself turned around, but I want to tuck that. Actually, it's probably just easier to do it here. tuck that under my larger flower. There we go. Just make sure the glue's making contact. Okay. We are almost done. I have a piece of Night of Navy, oh, what is this called? Bordered ribbon. This is a really beautiful ribbon. I have just a very short length here. It's only about 4 3/4 inches long. And all I'm going to do is tie this into a knot, if I can. And just, I don't need to pull that real tight, but I want it secure. And let me grab my snips here, and I am just going to trim these ends down just a little bit. And I'm using my thumb pad kind of as a guideline to space out where I trim that ribbon back. And that looks pretty good. And that bow is going to go right up here on the top right of our sentiment label. I'm going to go ahead and use a mini glue dot. I'm going to kind of roll that up as I remove it from the roll. And we'll get it put, and look, it wants to stick. It wants to stick to my tweezers. Yeah, these tweezers really are great, Mary. I would be lost without them. I find since I've gotten older that my fingers, I don't have as much dexterity as I once did, and so these are just lifesavers. Love them. All right, so these are the adhesive back milky dots, and I am going to take the smallest Night of Navy dots here and put those in the center of our little flowers. There we go. And take another small one. And he's a little tucked under that larger flower, but I'm able to get him in there. And then I'm going to take one of the larger ones and put it on our medium-sized flower here. And again, that flower is slightly tucked under, but I'm able to reach it. And then I believe these are Mango Melody, if I'm not mistaken. They're a little paler, but they coordinate very prettily. And that one is going to go in the center of our large flower, like that. And then I'm going to take another small Night of Navy dot and put it right here on our sentiment label, just like that. And that is our card for today. Oh, wait a minute. Now we got one more thing. No naked envelopes, right, Mary? Let me put my belly band back on my sample card here. And we didn't try this belly band out. I really can't talk today. But you can see that that slides off easily. And then to put it back on, that looks like it's, and it looks like I have an extra dot that came from somewhere. Where did that guy come from? Huh. I'm not really quite sure. But we'll put him back over on the paper. But let's, so I did mention that I stamped earlier and colored this in, just so you didn't have to watch me color too. But you can see that I stamped significantly less of that large stamp. You know, I've only got the one flower on here and some of the leaves, but just enough to decorate the front of the envelope. And so let's go ahead and get this glued on to our envelope flap, and then we're done. So Stampin' Up! Today just announced that they are releasing additional celebration products that you can earn with qualifying orders of $50 and $100, which was a great surprise. I was happy to learn that. You can visit my blog to get more detail on that. And you can also read all about the fantastic joint special that Stampin' Up! Is offering right now. There are 3 different options. If you'd like to join Stampin' Up!, we have many demonstrators who join as hobby demonstrators, and they join strictly for the discount. And that discount is 20% plus, you know, depending on how much you spend. But yeah, so it's there's 3 great promotions going on for joining right now. And for $129, you can get a mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss, either in white or the new boho blue, and plus $175 in products. Or you can pay the standard $99 for your joining starter kit and still get $175 in products, and starter kits ship for free. So that is, you know, those are amazing deals. That's a lot of product. And what else? What else? What else? If you'd like to host a party, please reach out to me. Let me know. We can make that happen during celebration. If your party or personal sales reach $300, you can get the Scenic Garden stamp set for free. So if you'd like to host a party, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're so inclined. I'd appreciate it. But this is our card for today. And I appreciate you all watching. And have a wonderful day. And I will see you all next week. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.